Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So obviously last week Mark Breland came out and addressed the numerous allegations that Deontay Wilder put his way, and he addressed other situations in regards to Deontay Wilder. Subsequently, Deontay Wilder responded to Mark Breland's interview, which has led Mark Breland to clarify his original interview. And, this is what Mark Breland had to say on his official Instagram. Now, you can call this the official Mark Breland Speaks. I've had enough. I'm going to say some things here that was reserved for my autobiography. Still by the book, there's much more. I'm also going to add a couple of pictures. One of a quote from a Daily News reporter where he says, "The usually reserved Mr. Breland is often quiet unless it's something he's passionate about." So true, and this is one subject that has me very passionate and actually beyond passion, so I'm not going to give anybody this interview. I'll use my own platform since I've been opened up like a can of sardines on the last podcast I was a guest on. Damn, they couldn't even wait until the next show to talk about me. I went on that show with them following my request of no Deontay talk. But when you've been holding on to something for so long and you're pissed off about it, obviously anybody can push your buttons and all kinds of shit came out. But that's not the environment I would have chosen to speak on, so here's Mark's take. I'll start backwards from the podcast I just did. Anybody who thinks I meant I can beat AJ or Deontay's opponents now, at 57 does not require a response. At my age, the only fight I'll have is one for my life. I'm not getting hit no more. I've had my fair share of fights. As a fighter with a little experience, I'm speaking on what I see. I stand by my words that the skill set and boxing IQ I see on Anthony Joshua and many other fighters that my former fighter would have fought would not get past the first few rounds with me if I were the same era and same weight class, obviously. As far as saying Deontay is done and I'm done, I meant with each other. I have no idea of what and where that man's career is going, and I'm not interested in trying to predict his career. The facts are that my time in the coach position with the Bronze Bomber changed drastically in the 12 years since I started with him. When he turned pro, JD's called me and humbly stated that he needed a trainer for a great prospect that he had in his gym. Boxing goes like this. You walk into my gym, I train you, I found you, and sometimes I manage you too. So Jay was seen as the head trainer in the media, but I was the only one on the team with a boxing resume, and I was the only trainer. This was okay with me because of my humility. I didn't have to be the one in front of a camera. I've lived that life. After Deontay became a name in boxing, new members joined the team, and it got to the point where I didn't even have my own fighter's phone number. I haven't spoken to Deontay alone in years. The things that I told Deontay to do had to be ran past Jay. Deontay had become untrainable because he was at the point of he knows more about boxing than all of us, so teaching a correct jab was not a priority to learn once he continued on his knockout streak. So a coach can only teach someone if they're willing to learn. We would wait for the champ hours before he arrived at the gym, and Jay would inform us of his mood. If he had a bad day, we had to be quiet to not be on the receiving end of his wrath, according to Jay, in an effort to not be fired. And yeah, hitting the bag, jumping rope, and not running is not high on the list for him. So if he doesn't feel like it, he don't. And Jay didn't seem to understand the importance of those things, so he would make it clear not to ask Deontay twice. If I tried to pull Deontay to the side and tell him what I see, Jay made it clear, don't say nothing. You don't want to make him mad. I've watched this man Deontay speak to many people very disrespectfully, and although I'm extremely humble and calm, I'm a man first. I stayed on the team because I've been there from the beginning, and I believed with his power and willingness to learn more, he could be a force in the sport. I never thought anything this insane could take place. I should have not addressed who had the water because that accusation is so asinine, it doesn't even deserve a reply. Anyone who knows a tiny bit about boxing knows we're tested before and after a fight, so that's the end of that ludicrous allegation. And then there's the gloves. To that I say, that's the one time I'm glad Jay treated me like I didn't matter. So he does all of the head trainer aspects, the witness for the hand wrapping, the press interviews, everything where a camera is involved. Except hand wraps. I'm the one for that. I'm not sure if he knows. In all of those years, I can't recall seeing him do it. The last quote of mine I'll stand by is, "The rubbish was on the canvas." I don't do much talking in the ring, but with Lloyd Honeyghan, I did a Muhammad Ali talking as I beat him up. You can't just be so disrespectful to somebody in public or private and not expect to get your ass beat. Now, this chapter of my life, book, has come to an end, and I won't be speaking about it anymore. To the ones who know me, I don't need to say anything, and to the ones who don't, I'm not trying to defend such ridiculous, outlandish allegations. Lastly, at that fight, just as many others, we had no cutsman because Deontay said, we won't need it. So I'm not a doctor, but I know blood is coming out your ears, and dazed eyes could be a brain issue, and power comes from your legs, and his legs were gone. So I made a decision to stop the fight, and I'd do it all again. I have a son Deontay's age, and I'm not looking to see him go out on his shield. I hope we all stay safe. There are so many bigger issues in the world. Those are the words of Mark Breland, clarifying his earlier interview with a podcast and setting the record straight on a few issues. And, this clarification, I guess you would say, this statement kind of lines up to what I said after the initial interview, where my hunch was that Deontay, whatever Mark Breland said, would be just untrainable and not willing to learn or take heed from the advice that Mark Breland was putting forth. And, this statement which Mark Breland has released kind of goes to show the working environment for the people in his training camp, whether that be JD's or Mark Breland's. And I've heard a lot of people criticise Mark Breland in the wake of his interview. I've got to be honest, I don't think he's done anything wrong. The only criticism that you can label at him was that he was seeing in camp, that Deontay wasn't trainable or he wasn't listening. Maybe Mark Breland should have walked, but let's be honest about it. There were more than likely hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line for him. There's not many people in this world who would walk away from that sort of money. So, yeah, that's a genuine criticism. Maybe Mark should have left a long time ago if he felt that way. Fair enough. But apart from that, I don't really believe he said anything wrong, in all honesty. And it goes to show what type of person JD's is. And we speculated on this a long time ago. That guy is just a guy who's looking to keep his job. And he's a yes man. And we speculated on that previously as well. Deontay is surrounded by yes men. And he's a guy who does not take responsibility. And we've seen that following his defeat to Tyson Fury. And it's been fueled by hangers-on, groupies, like suspect male fanboys, and all of the sort. So, yeah, Mark Breland has made his final clarification on this issue, maybe until his book's released, and there we go. Anyway, share your thoughts below. What do you make of Mark Breland's latest statement? I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts below. Peace.